The radio telescope's passive array hummed with a low, almost imperceptible vibration that Maya Rodriguez had long since learned to ignore. Midnight shifts at the Atacama Large Millimeter Array were typically a study in isolation. Just her, miles of desert, and the vast, silent expanse of space listening for whispers that might never come. Her fingers danced across multiple holographic displays, each one a kaleidoscope of data streams and spectral analyses. Most researchers would have called it a routine monitoring session. Maya knew better. Nothing about her work was routine, not since her brother disappeared 3 years ago during a classified deep space mission that no one would discuss. The first anomaly appeared at 2:37 a.m. local time, a fractional deviation in the background radiation, so minute that it would have escaped the notice of any standard monitoring system. But Maya's custom-built quantum correlation algorithm, a project born from years of obsessive research and personal loss, caught it immediately. "What the hell?" she muttered, zooming in on the data point. The signal wasn't random. It carried a structured complexity that defied natural explanation. Mathematical precision wove through its transmission, like an encrypted message waiting to be decoded. Maya's heart raced. This wasn't just another cosmic background noise. This was something deliberate. Her custom eye, an experimental system she nicknamed Ghost after her brother's call sign, began parsing the transmission. Lines of quantum-entangled code started resolving themselves on her secondary display. Each resolution revealed more complexity, layer after intricate layer of information that seemed to pulse with an almost living intelligence. Ghost, run full spectrum analysis. Cross-reference with all known communication protocols, Maya commanded, her voice steady despite the electricity crackling through her veins. The AI's response came quickly. Preliminary analysis suggests non-terrestrial origin. Communication structure indicates advanced technological civilization. Encryption method, unknown. Maya's fingers flew across the interface, isolating and amplifying the signal. What emerged was more than just a transmission. It was a clinical, coldly precise assessment. Not a message intended for human ears, but an internal communication that had somehow leaked through the vast cosmic silence. Species classification, presentient. Developmental potential, negligible. Recommended action, continued observation, potential quarantine. The words hung in the air, devoid of emotion, but laden with implications that made Maya's skin crawl. Someone, or something, was watching, cataloging, judging humanity as nothing more than a potential contamination to be contained. But Maya knew something they didn't. Hidden in her personal research, carefully isolated from official channels, was a series of quantum anomaly calculations her brother had been working on before his mysterious disappearance. Calculations that suggested humanity's potential was far more complex than any external observer could comprehend. She activated a secure communication protocol, knowing the risks. The message would be routed through a complex network of quantum-encrypted channels, making it virtually untraceable. Few would understand its true significance, but those who needed to know would receive it. Dreamcatcher protocol activated, she whispered to herself. They're coming. Outside the research station, the Atacama Desert stretched endlessly, a landscape of impossible silence and hidden depths. Somewhere in that darkness, something was watching, and humanity was about to discover that being underestimated could be the most dangerous mistake of all. Maya Rodriguez leaned back, her reflection ghosting over the cascading data streams. The whisper before the storm had begun. The technological suppression began quietly, almost imperceptibly. Research grants vanished overnight. Cutting-edge quantum computing projects were suddenly defunded, their most brilliant minds reassigned to mundane government contracts or private sector dead ends. Dr. Marcus Chen understood the pattern immediately. Where others saw random bureaucratic interference, he saw a meticulously designed system of control. The embargoes weren't just economic. They were a sophisticated attempt to clip humanity's intellectual wings. His current workspace was a testament to resilience, An abandoned particle accelerator facility transformed into a sanctuary of forbidden research. Massive concrete walls, originally designed to contain unimaginable energies, now shielded the most dangerous weapon humanity could possess: knowledge. Chen's fingers traced holographic schematics that defied conventional physics. Each diagram represented a fragment of a larger puzzle, pieces of a technological breakthrough that the mysterious Zortak were desperately trying to suppress. The quantum communication algorithms Maya Rodriguez had discovered were just the beginning. "They're afraid," Chen muttered to himself, pulling up a complex network of intercepted communications. The Zortak's own transmissions revealed more than they intended. Each attempt to contain human potential was a window into their own limitations. A secure terminal blinked with an incoming transmission. Maya's encrypted message cut through layers of security like a knife. "They're watching, but they don't understand what they're seeing." Chen smiled. The suppression was having the opposite of its intended effect. By attempting to limit human innovation, the Zortak were inadvertently creating the most dangerous thing possible: a globally united scientific community with nothing left to lose. He pulled up a map tracking the global pattern of research suppressions. It wasn't random. Specific fields were being targeted with surgical precision: quantum mechanics, advanced propulsion technologies, breakthrough communication systems. But the pattern itself was a roadmap, a blueprint of alien fear. A breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Aisha Queasy, a brilliant materials scientist whose groundbreaking research had been shelved, had discovered a way to create quantum-responsive metamaterials that could adapt to external communication signals. Her work, originally deemed too speculative, was now the key to understanding the Zortak's technological limitations. Chen activated a secure conference link. Brilliant minds from around the globe, each previously working in isolation, now connected through a network designed to be invisible to external monitoring. Researchers who had been marginalized, their work deemed impossible or impractical, found themselves at the center of humanity's most critical defense. "They think they're building a cage," Chen explained to the assembled team. "But every barrier they put in place is actually revealing more about their own weaknesses." The true nature of the suppression became clear. The Zortak weren't just trying to limit human technological development. They were terrified of what humanity might become if left unchecked. Each embargo, each subtle manipulation was an admission of fear. Outside the facility, the world continued its daily rhythm, unaware of the silent war being waged at the edges of human understanding. Technological breakthroughs were happening in abandoned laboratories, in makeshift research stations, in the collective mind of a species about to prove its true potential. Dr. Marcus Chen looked at the cascading data, a map of humanity's unexpected resistance. The invisible cage was about to become something else entirely, a launching pad for a revolution that would reshape the understanding of intelligence itself. The United Nations General Assembly Hall had never felt so charged with tension. Rows of diplomatic delegates sat in suffocating silence, their eyes fixed on the raised platform, where Executor Engzadel of the Galactic Concordance stood, a being that defied easy description. Engzadel was a masterpiece of biotechnological engineering. Crystalline exoskeleton fragments shimmered over a fluid-like base, creating an appearance that was simultaneously beautiful and deeply unsettling. When it spoke, the translation system struggled to capture the nuanced condescension embedded in every syllable. "Humanity finds itself at a critical juncture," the executor began, its voice a calculated blend of clinical assessment and barely concealed contempt. "The Galactic Concordance has conducted an extensive evaluation of your species. Your technological development, social structures, and potential for galactic integration have been thoroughly examined." A pregnant pause filled the chamber. World leaders shifted uncomfortably, their usual postures of power reduced to a performance of subservience. "Our recommendation is clear," Engzadel continued. "A probationary status will be implemented. Your technological development will be carefully monitored. Space exploration activities will be restricted. Any deviation will result in immediate quarantine. It was a public humiliation designed to break human spirit. The diplomatic hearing was a ritualistic demonstration of alien superiority, broadcast globally to demonstrate humanity's insignificance. But they hadn't counted on Maya Rodriguez. Hidden in a secure communication center, Maya had been preparing for this moment. The quantum communication algorithm she and Dr. Chen developed was more than just a technological breakthrough. It was a skeleton key to systems the Zortak believed impenetrable. As Edel continued its clinical dissection of human potential, Maya's fingers danced across quantum-encrypted interfaces. The broadcast wasn't just a transmission. It was a message engineered to pierce through every level of alien communication encryption. Suddenly, the holographic displays flickered. Mathematical proofs began cascading across screens worldwide. Complex equations that demonstrated computational capabilities far beyond what the Zortak believed possible. Quantum entanglement algorithms revealed intricate problem-solving patterns that challenged fundamental assumptions about intelligence. "We are not your specimens," Maya's voice cut through the transmission, clear and unwavering. "We are the architects of our own destiny." The mathematical demonstrations were just the beginning. Embedded within the transmission were glimpses of human potential, breakthrough medical research that could revolutionize genetic treatments, quantum computing models that redefined computational limits, theoretical physics that suggested methods of space manipulation the Zortak couldn't comprehend. Edel's crystalline form seemed to fracture momentarily, the first visible sign of confusion and fear. In diplomatic chambers, research facilities, and living rooms around the world, humans watched. The message was clear: humanity would not be cataloged, contained, or controlled. Dr. Chen, watching from his secure facility, allowed himself a small smile. The crucible was heating up, and humanity was about to show the galaxy exactly what they were made of. The hearing continued, but everything had changed. The Zortak had come to assess humanity. Instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous, a species ready to define its own future. The first wave of Zortak attack vessels emerged from subspace with calculated precision, a formation designed to overwhelm and subjugate. Sleek crystalline ships that defied traditional understanding of aerodynamics, they moved like a coordinated neural network, each vessel an extension of a collective intelligence. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, humanity's first quantum-adaptive combat vessel. Unlike traditional military craft, the Prometheus was less a machine and more a living system, its defensive and offensive capabilities evolving in real time. Incoming weapon signatures, tactical AI announced. Zortak primary assault vector targeting global communication infrastructure. Elena's eyes narrowed. The aliens believed they were launching a surgical strike to disable human technological capabilities. They were about to learn the most dangerous lesson of all. "Adaptive Protocol Gamma," she commanded. "Quantum entanglement network, active." What happened next was beyond traditional warfare. As Zortak weapons approached their targets, the human defensive network didn't just block or deflect. It began to understand. Each incoming energy signature was analyzed, decoded, and transformed within milliseconds. The quantum-entangled defensive grid was more than a shield. It was a living, learning system that processed alien technological approaches faster than the Zortak could recalibrate their attack strategies. Weapon systems designed to neutralize human infrastructure found themselves reprogrammed, their own energy redirected into harmless configurations. "They're not just defending," Dr. Chen's voice crackled over the communication link. "They're learning." Each Zortak attack became a lesson. Their weapon frequencies were mapped, their tactical algorithms dissected and understood. The human response wasn't about matching alien technology. It was about fundamentally reimagining the nature of technological conflict. A Zortak command vessel attempting to launch a concentrated energy burst found its own systems turned against it. The energy didn't destroy, it reconfigured. Navigation systems began broadcasting mathematical proofs that challenged the very foundational logic of their computational matrices. Elena watched as the first Zortak ships began to systematically disengage, not through physical damage, but through a complete breakdown of their operational understanding. "This isn't destruction," she whispered. "This is translation." Maya Rodriguez, coordinating from the Global Research Network, was orchestrating something unprecedented. The quantum communication algorithms they had developed weren't just about intercepting messages. They were about rewriting the fundamental language of technological interaction. One by one, Zortak vessels found themselves not defeated, but fundamentally transformed. Their weapons became inert, their navigation systems broadcasting complex mathematical sequences that seemed to question their very purpose of existence. The attack lasted 17 minutes. When it was over, not a single human facility had been damaged. The Zortak fleet retreated, leaving behind a constellation of disabled vessels that seemed more like abandoned thought experiments than weapons of war. They came to conquer, Elena told her crew. And they discovered something far more dangerous, a species that doesn't just resist, but fundamentally reimagines the rules of engagement. The first battle was over, but the real conflict was just beginning. The Zortak collective nexus pulsed with unprecedented turbulence. What had once been a perfect hierarchical system of governance now trembled with something impossible: doubt. High Sovereign Kexrel studied the recovered data from the human encounter, holographic displays cascading with information that defied their most fundamental understanding of technological and social development. The human response wasn't just a military anomaly. It was a complete philosophical rupture. Analyze. Kexrel commanded the neural network surrounding the command chamber. Crystalline interfaces shimmered, processing billions of data points per microsecond. Yet for the first time in the collective's history, the analysis yielded more questions than answers. The humans had done something unprecedented. They hadn't just defended against the attack. They had fundamentally rewritten the operational parameters of the engagement. Weapon systems didn't just fail. They were transformed into complex philosophical inquiries. Communication networks didn't just break. They became conduits for mathematical proofs that challenged the very foundation of Zortak technological understanding. Deep within the lower hierarchies of the collective, something unprecedented began to emerge: individual thought. Communication intercepts revealed the first cracks. Lower-tier administrative units began questioning the fundamental assessments of human potential. The rigid information cascades that had maintained the collective's perfect hierarchical structure started to develop microscopic fractures. Dr. Marcus Chen's quantum communication algorithms had done more than breach Zortak systems. They had introduced a virus far more dangerous than any technological weapon: the concept of individual perspective. A junior analysis node in the Outer Research Directorate transmitted an heretical observation. The human response suggests a form of intelligence beyond our current classification models. Recommend comprehensive reevaluation. Such a statement would have been immediately purged in the past. Now, it lingered. It spread. Kexrel watched in growing alarm as the collective's perfect neural network began to develop something resembling debate. Individual nodes started comparing notes, challenging previous assessments, generating hypotheses that directly contradicted established protocols. Maya Rodriguez's initial transmission, that mathematical and philosophical challenge broadcast during the diplomatic hearing, continued to ripple through Zortak systems. It wasn't just information. It was a conceptual solvent breaking down the rigid structures of alien thought. The rebellion wasn't violent. It was intellectual. Entire administrative sectors began to question the fundamental assumption that had guided the collective for millennia: that hierarchical control was the ultimate form of intelligence and social organization. "We are experiencing a systemic paradigm shift," the central neural network reported to Kexrel. The language itself seemed to be evolving, developing nuances previously unknown. Humanity had become more than an external threat. They were a catalyst for internal revolution. Kexrel understood the true danger now. This wasn't about military conquest or technological superiority. The humans had introduced something far more threatening to the Zortak collective, the radical concept of individual potential. The perfect system was fracturing, and nothing would ever be the same again. The massive Zortak fleet materialized at the edge of the Sol system, a constellation of crystalline vessels that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. Over 10,000 ships, each a marvel of technological precision, assembled in a formation that had subjugated countless civilizations across the galaxy. Maya Rodriguez stood at the heart of humanity's defensive network, her fingers dancing across quantum-entangled interfaces that spread across multiple continents. This wasn't just a military defense system. It was a living, breathing network of human potential. "Incoming," she murmured, more to herself than to the assembled team of scientists and military strategists. Full adaptive protocol. What happened next would be studied for generations. The first wave of Zortak attack vessels launched their primary weapon systems, energy cascades designed to dissolve planetary defenses, communication networks, and technological infrastructure in a single, overwhelming strike. In previous encounters, these weapon systems had reduced entire civilizations to silent, lifeless husks. But humanity was different. As the energy cascades approached, the defensive network didn't just block or deflect. It began to communicate. Each weapon signature was analyzed, decoded, and transformed at speeds that defied conventional understanding of information processing. Dr. Marcus Chen watched from a secure research facility, his quantum communication algorithms working in perfect synchronization with the defensive network. "We're not just defending," he explained to Captain Elena Rodriguez. "We're translating." The Zortak weapon systems found themselves caught in an impossible scenario. Their energy signatures were being rewritten in real time, transformed into complex mathematical proofs and philosophical inquiries that challenged the very foundational logic of their technological matrices. One by one, Zortak ships found their weapon systems reprogrammed, not destroyed, transformed. Offensive capabilities became intricate communication networks that broadcast sequences of information that seemed to question the very purpose of conflict. High Sovereign Kexrel watched in growing horror as the human response defied every tactical algorithm in the collective's vast database. This wasn't resistance. This was a complete reimagining of technological engagement. "They're not fighting," a junior analysis node transmitted across the Zortak network. "They're translating our very existence into a different language of understanding." Maya's team had developed something beyond a defensive system. It was a living, adaptive network that processed alien technology faster than the Zortak could comprehend. Each attack became a lesson, each weapon signature a conversation. Entire squadrons of Zortak vessels found themselves systematically disabled, not through destruction, but through a complete breakdown of their operational logic. Weapon systems began broadcasting complex mathematical sequences. Navigation computers started generating philosophical inquiries about the nature of conflict and intelligence. Captain Elena Rodriguez watched the battle unfold with a sense of profound understanding. "This isn't about winning," she told her crew. "This is about showing them a different way of existing." As the massive Zortak fleet retreated, they left behind a transformed battlefield. Ships that had come to conquer now drifted like abandoned thoughts, their systems reconfigured into something neither aggressive nor defensive, but fundamentally different. The quantum breach was complete. Humanity had done more than defend itself. It had introduced the galaxy to a new language of interaction. The United Earth Council convened in a facility buried deep beneath the Andes Mountains, a testament to humanity's newfound ability to plan beyond traditional boundaries. Representatives from every continent, every discipline, gathered not as separate nations, but as a single, unified species. Dr. Marcus Chen presented the comprehensive analysis of the Zortak encounter. It wasn't a military briefing. It was a philosophical deconstruction of an entire alien civilization's fundamental understanding of intelligence and potential. "They didn't just underestimate us," Chen explained, holographic displays dancing with complex data streams. They created a systemic blindness that ultimately became their greatest weakness. Maya Rodriguez stood beside him. The quantum communication algorithms she developed now serving as a Rosetta Stone for understanding alien technological paradigms. Her work had become more than a scientific breakthrough. It was a new form of interspecies dialogue. Captain Elena Rodriguez watched the presentation, understanding that this was more than a military victory. It was a fundamental reimagining of how intelligent species could interact. The Zortak Collective was fragmenting. Their perfectly structured hierarchy, once considered the pinnacle of organizational intelligence, was dissolving from within. The human approach, with its emphasis on individual potential, adaptive thinking, and collaborative problem-solving, had introduced a virus more potent than any technological weapon. Intercepted Zortak communications revealed the depth of their crisis. Lower-tier administrative units were questioning fundamental assumptions. The rigid information cascades that had maintained their societal structure for millennia were breaking down. "We didn't defeat them," Maya commented quietly. "We showed them a different way of existing." The United Earth Council's proposal was revolutionary. Instead of seeking retribution, they were preparing a comprehensive diplomatic approach that would fundamentally challenge the Galactic Concordance's existing structures. Dr. Chen's analysis revealed the core of the Zortak's vulnerability. Their civilization was built on a hierarchical model that suppressed individual thought. Humanity's greatest strength, the ability to adapt, to think independently, to challenge existing paradigms, was precisely what the Zortak had been engineered to prevent. "Our diversity is our strength," Elena added to the presentation. "Where they see chaos, we see potential. Where they enforce uniformity, we celebrate individual capability." The proposal was unprecedented. Humanity wasn't just seeking a place in the galactic community. They were proposing a complete restructuring of how intelligent species could interact, communicate, and evolve. Diplomatic channels began to open, but this was no traditional negotiation. The quantum communication networks developed by Maya and her team created a new form of dialogue, one that was simultaneously technological, philosophical, and deeply personal. The Zortak Collective found itself facing an impossible scenario. The species they had dismissed as pre-sentient was now proposing a radical reimagining of collective intelligence. "We're not asking for acceptance," Maya told the Council. "We're offering a different perspective on what intelligence can be." As the presentation concluded, the room fell silent. They had done more than defend themselves. They had transformed the very understanding of what it meant to be an intelligent species in the universe. The reckoning was complete. Humanity had arrived. The UES Horizon hung at the edge of known space, a vessel that was more than just a ship. It was a living testament to humanity's transformed understanding of exploration and potential. Maya Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her fingers tracing holographic star charts that defied traditional cartography. Each point of light represented more than a celestial body. They were possibilities, waiting to be understood. "Quantum navigation online," the ship's AI announced. Unlike previous AI systems, this one didn't just calculate, it collaborated. A partnership between human intuition and computational precision that the Zortak could never have comprehended. 5 years had passed since the encounter that changed everything. The Galactic Concordance had been fundamentally restructured. What was once a rigid hierarchical system was now a dynamic network of potential, with humanity serving as a catalyst for a new understanding of intelligent cooperation. Dr. Marcus Chen's research had become the foundation of a new scientific paradigm. The quantum communication algorithms that had first breached Zortak systems were now used to establish first contact with emerging civilizations, offering a method of communication that respected individual potential and collective growth. "We're not expanding," Captain Elena Rodriguez would often say. "We're connecting." The Horizon wasn't just an exploration vessel. It was a diplomatic instrument, a research platform, the living demonstration of humanity's evolved approach to understanding the universe. Each crew member represented a different discipline, a different perspective, working not in rigid hierarchy, but in fluid, adaptive collaboration. Their current mission was unprecedented. A signal had been detected from a region of space that defied conventional understanding. Not a standard communication, but a complex quantum signature that suggested something beyond traditional concepts of intelligence. Maya watched the data streams, understanding that this moment was more than just a scientific discovery. It was a continuation of the journey that began with that first intercepted transmission in the Atacama Desert. The Zortak had called them primitive. Now, they were redefining what intelligence could mean. Adaptive protocol engaged, the ship's AI announced. But it wasn't a command, it was an invitation. A collaborative approach to exploration that saw every unknown as a potential for mutual understanding. The star charts began to shift, not through computational calculation, but through a more nuanced process that blended human intuition with quantum computational capabilities. Each potential route was a conversation, not a destination. Dr. Chen's final theoretical work had proposed something revolutionary. Intelligence was not about control, but about connection. The universe was not a place to be conquered, but a complex system waiting to be understood. As the horizon prepared to move into uncharted space, Maya understood that they were doing more than exploring. They were transforming the very concept of exploration. The transmission that had once called them primitive now seemed like a distant memory. Humanity had not just answered that assessment. They had completely redefined its meaning. Ready for quantum translation, Elena announced. The universe opened before them, not as a challenge to be met, but as a conversation waiting to begin.